What is going on, Diesel Nation? We're excited to have you guys with us today on the Diesel Podcast. Today's episode is going to be really cool. I got a message from one of our fans out there that said, hey, I'm really struggling with this decision. I've got 2 trucks. I've got to keep one and sell one. And he wanted to come onto the show. We're going to chat about it, but we want to hear from you guys in the comment section, whether you're watching on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, wherever you see our post. Make sure and drop a comment as to which truck you would keep and why. And James is going to tell us how he's going to be using the truck and some benefits and drawbacks to each one. And it's a really tough decision. Like, how do you choose between a 12 valve or a Ford OBS? And they both have great things that they do well. And then there's also, for how he's using it, going to be some challenges where one truck may separate itself with the other, or maybe it won't. But we definitely want to hear from you guys. Make sure you comment down below. James and I are looking forward to reading what truck you would keep and which one you would sell. Before we get to the episode, though, I want to give a shout out to a couple different sponsors of the Diesel Podcast. We appreciate their support with content and with helping us be able to deliver, stories and details about products or fluids and just so many different things that we rely on these companies to be able to help us answer the questions that you guys want to know. And one of them is Wehrli Custom Fabrication. We're big fans of what they do, the products that they build. If you're not following them on Instagram or Facebook, you definitely need to. They have great pictures, really high detail quality photos of their products so you can see it, and then imagine like a 6.7 Cummins intercooler piping kit on your truck or something for your Dmax. And they build all the products that they make in the United States, which is it's really cool to be able to support American companies and buy American. So make sure and go to wcfab.com, check out what they have for your truck. If you have any questions about, will this fit my application? Is it going to achieve what I want to achieve? Just give them a call, reach out, send them an email. They're more than happy to chat with you guys and answer those questions. If you're a shop owner out there and people are calling in or stopping by and saying, hey, I want some WCFab parts, check out Turn 14. If you're not set up with them already, they make it super easy to get set up. They give you a dedicated account manager who specializes in diesel. So you know that the brands and the things that you're going to be looking for, they're familiar with it, can help you get the products, right there to your shop as quickly and easily as possible. Also want to give a shout out to Amsoil. They've got free shipping on orders over $100. So if you're looking to, do things as far as an oil change, transmission fluid that you're changing, coolant, gear oil. We've got an episode coming up with them where I'm going to chat with them about gear oil. We had that requested on our Discord server. And so we're going to be chatting with those guys, learning more about gear oils and which ones we should run depending on our truck and the use that we have for it. But go to amsoil.com. You can check out what they have, and you can also get free shipping on orders over $100. If you're not on our Discord, make sure and jump on. You're going to see a link down below for that. It's completely free to join. We almost have 200 people on there, which is really cool to be able to chat with you guys all different times a day, get feedback for questions that you want answered and things you want to know about products like the Amsoil podcast we're going to be doing that came direct from Discord. Or you might say, hey, I need help on a build, and there's a bunch of people that jump in and have either direct experience with that truck and what they did and what parts they really like, things they would change. So it's a great place for us to all be able to connect, and you'll find that link down below. All right, let's get to today's podcast with James and deciding which truck should he keep and which one should he sell. James, welcome to the Diesel Podcast. I'm excited, one, that you messaged us and the decision that you have about which of these 2 classic trucks to, which one to keep, which one to sell. I know a lot of our listeners are, either looking to buy one of these trucks or they might be in the same position. And, we're going to go through, kind of how you use the trucks, what you're looking for, and maybe, by the end of the episode, help with some opinions on which one you should keep as a daily driver, tow rig, and which one to offer for sale. So I'm excited to have you on today.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you trying to help me out.
And what's really cool is, the 2 trucks that you have, it's a second gen. Was it a 95 12 valve?
95, right.
You got a 95 12 valve, and then you have a 7.3 OBS. Is that a 97?
Yeah, it's a late 96, early 97, yeah.
Okay. Now, before you had those trucks, were you specifically looking for those year ranges, or what led you to buy both of them?
Well, actually, prior to buying the second gen, I actually had a 6.0. And it was a manual transmission, and I decided that wasn't going to suit my needs, so I sold it. And I had fallen in love with the idea of the 12 valve and the simplicity, and so I started seeking out that vehicle, and I bought that one to restore it before selling the 6.0.
Okay. And with the 12 valve, was there a particular setup you were looking for, like manual or automatic, 4-wheel drive, regular cab?
Yeah, I wanted a automatic. At the time, I needed a hip replacement from a motorcycle accident, so the stick wasn't working well for me. So I was looking for automatic, but I was pretty much open to everything else.
Now, if I remember right from your message, it doesn't have a lot of miles on it. It's pretty low mileage second gen.
Yeah.
Have.
Actually, both of my trucks are at like between 130 and 135,000 miles.
Oh, that's cool. So they're that's for the year that these trucks are, that's extremely low mileage. I mean, that's low mileage for something 5 years old or 8 years old. So to go back to the mid 90s, that's really cool. Now, to find the trucks, did they take a while? Say with the 12 valve to find something that low mileage that was what you're looking for?
It didn't take too long. I'm a big research guy, so when I get into something, I go pretty heavy. So
I always keep my eye out for those trucks, and it's sometimes I'll see them on social media, or sometimes like a Facebook Marketplace, or there's some really good Instagram pages that have trucks for sale, but it can be so tough. Like, kind of when I'm in that mode to buy something, it's like I can't find them, and when I'm not in the mode to buy them, I see, hey, low mileage, right, second gen. But you had mentioned as well that with the Cummins that you had some upgrades done to it, and I wanted to ask you about what you had done as far as performance or reliability upgrades on it.
Right. Actually, I've done quite a bit. I actually made notes last night so that I wouldn't try to go by memory. So I've actually upgraded the fuel system, upgraded injectors, delivery valves. I did the max rack. I advanced the timing. I've put on, exhaust. What else did I do? Oh, and I've upgraded the manifold, head bolts, valve springs. I mean, fluid dampener. I put gauges on it. I mean, it's been pretty extensive. So
they're everything that you've done to that, that you just mentioned to it would be what I would want to do if I had a daily driven second gen, which I've mentioned on the podcast before. It's always going to be like my holy grail truck of something I want to drive every day. That's exactly what I would do to it as well.
Right. Well, and I got a little bit of guidance. The people I bought all the parts from, they're great. You get on the phone, they talk to you, So I'm kind of new to the diesel thing. I'm not new to vehicles. I was a mechanic for years. It's my hobby. I love doing it. But the diesel thing, I needed a little bit of assistance with. So between research and talking to the guys, that's kind of where I came. What injector do you get? There's so many choices. So that type of thing, I got the input of the PDD diesel.
Oh, cool.
So,
yeah, we know they do a lot with the 12 valve platform, and they're big fans of it. And I love watching their videos too. They got a lot of really informative things as far as like advancing timing and injectors and which turbo to pair it with. So it's really cool when you can find a place that is passionate about the truck you have, and you just tell the excitement and the experience they have. So it's great to be able to find that, when you're looking to build a truck or just do upgrades to it.
Right.
Now with the OBS, what led you to look at that late 96, early 97 truck and pick that one up?
Well, frankly, I'm in love with the 12 valve, but I started looking at buying a fifth wheel, and I was concerned that the Dodge, being a single rear wheel, wouldn't pull the weight that I might end up buying. Whereas the dually, because the OBS is a dually, is more equipped to pull heavier. If you look on paper, they say they're pretty much similar, but truth is the dually will actually handle it better. So I actually started seeking it out for that.
Now with that truck, is it something that's 100% stock, or did you go down the same route with doing research and trying to find, either upgrades to do for a little bit more power, or to address maybe some maintenance or reliability issues they can have with some miles on them?
Yeah, actually, and it too, again, is only a little over 130,000 miles. I'm second owner on both vehicles, maintenance records on both vehicles. So I know the history pretty much. I have done a little bit of work on that one because the 7.3 diesels kind of change their own oil by the way they leak. So I've addressed a lot of that. And at this point, I've got most of the oil leaking. I haven't done any performance mods because I want to decide if I'm keeping it first.
That was the part really interested me when you had messaged us and said, I'm really struggling with which one to keep, which one to sell. And I guess, when I was thinking about it too, like, if I was in this position, which one would I keep, which one would I sell? And it seems like the main goal you have is to be able to tow and daily drive with it. What are some pros that you find and cons to each platform where you're just kind of stuck right now and looking for opinions on it?
Well, clearly the 5.9 being an all mechanical for the most part, super easy to work on. Parts are cheaper. They're plentiful, although plentiful for both. The 7.3, it's actually more expensive to work on because it's electronically controlled, a little more expensive to buy the parts, but it's also a little better because you can retune it by the computer. So what works for it is also what works against it. It's kind of a catch-22. Both of them struggle with their transmission problems. If you think about it, the Dodge, well, that's a well-known transmission problem. Yeah. It's been rebuilt once already. Now the OBS, it has a new transmission, but the owner actually bought a brand new transmission from Ford and put it in. And that was real recent. The OBS, the oil, the tranny cooler is terrible. I mean, everything's got its shortcomings. So.
Yeah, that's a question I see a lot from potential buyers is they say, well, which one's the best? And it's one of the hardest questions to answer because they all have things they do really well, things you have to address. So it's not like there's a clear-cut best truck per se. And that goes all the way to the 2021, 2022s. They all have certain things they do really well. And I think, when I was thinking about this, I thought, okay, if I had the 12 valve and all those upgrades of things you've done, I like it, but I know that transmission at some point, I'm going to have to, do some upgrades to it. But the OBS, the dually, like you mentioned, it's probably better for towing, or at least handles it maybe more comfortably, is a bit easier. But you also have these things that you need to address. And I got stuck too when we were messaging each other. Which one would I keep and which one would I sell? I don't really know.
Well, for me, the other consideration is the Dodge is a single cab, whereas the OBS is a crew. So it clearly has the ability to carry more people.
Yeah.
I'm a single guy, but I have grandkids that I'm very involved with. And so, depending on if we were to go on a trip with more of us, well, then clearly the crew cab would do a better job.
Yeah.
So, it's one of these things where I start doing this, which one, and so, and the thing is, I really, really love the 12 valve because I put so much work into it and I built it at this point to be mine, what I wanted. I can clearly do the same thing with the 7.3. And in fact, I love having crafts and things to work on. So I actually almost want to keep it just to do that. But I could keep both, but it's kind of ridiculous to keep two trucks and keep one in storage and keep moving them back and forth. And that's what I'm doing right now. The cost is an issue too. I mean, it makes no sense.
I know somebody out there is going to be listening and they're going to say, well, you keep the OBS and put a 12 valve in it. I know that comment's going to definitely pop up.
Yeah, I hear you. But, honestly, it's got a fantastic running 7.3. And why would you throw away what still works good?
Well, and I've done episodes with CP Addict, Complete Performance, and other enthusiast guys who have 7.3 OBSs, and they absolutely love that truck. And some of the mileage that they're able to get out of them, they last a really long time. And so, when I think of two classic diesel trucks, that's what I think of, the 12 valve and the 7.3 OBS. And I think as far as longevity, they're both kind of right neck and neck, with each other. But I think about something, taking road trips, towing with it, hauling people. Maybe for me, that might be the deciding factor between the regular cab and the crew cab. But like you mentioned, I come back to that 12 valve engine and how simple it is and what they can do, and just you can work on it at home. It's not as complex as the electronically controlled ones.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I can work on either one of them. But you're right. I mean, there's, for me, the cab is a big thing. But we don't often utilize that. Normally it's just maybe me and my older granddaughter. But I look down the road and I'm trying to think long-term here. Yeah. If I was only thinking right now, well then right now, the truck that I have, I love. The trailer that I have is completely within the weight that either truck can pull. So it's a difficult decision because, it's like you're trying to think really far ahead when, hey, none of us know what life has to store for us. But I don't want to look back with regret,
Yeah, I've come across it. One of my favorite body styles are regular cabs. I just love how they look. I've always loved them. And most of the time it is just me driving. But there are those few times when I want to take some people with me, or I'm going camping or to the mountains or something like that. And I realize the shortcomings of it when I can just carry one person with me versus, a crew cab or something or a mega cab, something like that, where I can carry more people. And it's a struggle I've always had as well, is just, what if I do want to carry more people, or just store something inside the truck, in the back seat? It makes it so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. That's why I've been turmoiling over the decision so much, because honestly, both of the vehicles, there's a huge group of people that wish they were in my position, that they could even find things so clean, let alone be owning both of them. So a lot of people would look at me and go, what are you, nuts? Keep both of them, But, then again, tags and insurance and storage, because I'm storing one of them. It's just a waste of money, Plus, honestly, somebody else could enjoy one of these vehicles, and I can let it go. Plus, let's be honest, right now, the truck market, come on.
Yeah.
What things are worth right now, So, and I got a good deal on both of them, and even with all the improvements on the Cummins, I'm still into it way below what it's worth.
Yeah, that's the cost of them is something that's definitely jumped up the last year and a half or so. Where to find anything that's, it's got a good body, good suspension, it's reliable. It's not, you don't have to immediately buy it and then jump into a transmission or, something like that. It's so tough to find. And it's, it's something where probably the majority of the questions that I get on Instagram or just see on YouTube are people who are in the same position, but they haven't bought both of them yet, but they're looking at both of these trucks. And it's just like, which one do you pick? And I think the toughest part, or maybe the easiest part, is, well, which one do you like the most? Which one do you like the interior the most? How it rides, the exterior. You can make improvements to both of them to get them to, nearly the performance or even exceed the performance of a new truck as far as torque numbers and things like that. So that's not even really a consideration in it. It's more so, the way that they look and the way that they ride. Now, if you look at both trucks from that perspective, is there one that you see in the driveway and just go, I like the way that looks a little bit more than the other one?
Well, currently that's the Cummins, but it's kind of unfair because I've also done a lot of work to it, and I've kind of developed a relationship. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I've developed a relationship with it because you spend that much time under the hood and inside of it. Yeah, you do. So that same thing could probably be said about the other one if I spent the same kind of time and put as much of myself into it. So, it's like if you had a relationship with two individuals and one of them was a recent relationship and one of them you got a lot of time into, which one are you feeling closer to? Well, it's not that you wouldn't end up eventually liking one just as much, but, how much investment do you have in one versus the other? And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about time.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's a really good point, and something that the diesel enthusiasts that listen are going to identify with is how much time do you spend on that truck, and you develop a relationship with it. Whether it's sometimes difficult, it's a challenge you're facing fixing something, and then you overcome it and do it, and then you get comfortable adjusting the timing, doing the head studs, doing all these things with it. It's an attachment. I definitely understand that particular part of it. As far as opinions that you get, besides the keep both of them, do you find really valid arguments that people may give to say, hey, you should keep the 12 valve, there's no way you should get rid of that, or you should keep the OBS, like that one's going to do more of what you need to do? And what do people tell you?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, but honestly what I'm struggling with is I get too much brand loyalty. Where somebody simply wants to tell you what you should have because they're loyal to that brand. They wouldn't think of owning anything else. I don't really have brand loyalty. I think that depending on what you want, every one of the brands has something, that will meet that need depending on the need. Yeah. So what it really comes down to for me is which one fits my needs best. I think in a lot of ways, both of them are equal. The 12 valve mechanical, it'll last for next to forever. Well, that same thing can be said about the 7.3. Yeah. It also, the 12 valve is Dodge's like last forever million mile, motor, and 7.3 is Ford's last forever million mile motor. So, in a lot of ways they're comparable. The 5.9 is definitely easier to work on, but honestly, not too much different. There's a lot of stuff out there to upgrade. I think actually there might be more things to upgrade performance-wise on the 12 valve than there is on the 7.3, because the early 7.3s, there's not quite as much out there to bump them up. But then again, it can be done through tuning, and so you can kind of get to the same place with both of them. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's really the thing. When I think about a 12 valve and I think about a 7.3, I don't think of a race truck or anything like that. I think of something where I can have sort of modern performance numbers. Say that 450, maybe 500 horsepower, something I'm going to drive every day. I want it to last. I don't necessarily want crazy power out of it. And the 7.3 can definitely do that. There's an aftermarket support structure to it where you can find those parts, you can find the upgrades. There's a lot of companies that have just maintenance upgrades, whether it's door handles and just different things that might wear over time, where you can have a pretty much equal truck, like you mentioned with Dodge's Ram's forever engine and Ford's 7.3 forever engine. That's absolutely true. Those are the last two where you see them with 600,000, 700,000, 800,000 miles, even more on either one of them. So they're definitely built for that.
Yeah, I would say that the Cummins, because it's single rear wheel, is a little easier to be the daily driver, the grocery getter, whereas the dually, it's really designed around more around, towing something or pulling something or hauling something, hence the dual rear wheels. I mean, if you ever tried to drive a dually through a drive-through, you'll figure that out real fast.
Yeah, or try to parallel park it.
Yeah. So really, yeah, exactly. There's definitely they're in similar categories, but they're also in different categories. Both of them would potentially meet my needs. The problem is I'm really trying to look at things that are kind of in the unknown. I even contemplated recently, because the OBS is more new to me, I was even going to pull an oil sample, send it in, and get the oil sample tested to see if anything came to light that would tell me, oh, well, maybe this one has an upcoming problem. So now I can, I needed something to sort of to bring one to the top, So I'm even struggling with that. They both run fantastic. I don't believe there's any problem with it, but I'm even going to that point.
That's a really good point, and something that we had just chatted with Hot Shot Secrets about recently, which was about doing an oil analysis just to see where the engine is at, see if there's any metals or anything that you can detect in an oil analysis. And I think that's a really good idea, to be able to see if there's any sort of wear or anything that might not be something you notice daily driving that could be an upcoming cost that you might face.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I'd like to take credit for that, but it's actually your podcast with them that made me think about adding it into the mix. I've done oil sampling before, but using it for this purpose to help me with this decision came up when I watched that with Hot Shot Secret.
I just thought of another question for you. As far as the body's concerned and aesthetics, are they both in equal condition, you would say, where, say, one of them, you don't have to even take into consideration, having to fix a cab corner or something like that? Are they both pretty much equal as far as the body line, sheet metal, things like that?
Yeah, they're both from California, so they're spot, no rust. I mean, nothing. The Cummins actually had a repaint, which I actually don't like, because it's not the highest quality repaint, and I would rather get an older paint job that's not been touched. Hold on a second. Sorry, it's messing us up here. That all of a sudden the screen went bad. I think my internet's a little questionable. Anyway, the OBS is original paint, original body. Neither one of them have any damage. I've wet sanded and paint corrected the OBS. I mean, it's not perfect. It's got your rock chips and whatnot. They both shine. So I guess the repaint, for me, the repaint actually makes me a little less happy with the Cummins. But honestly, it shines. It looks great, because I've also wet sanded it and done it. So, I mean, it's like, they're almost exactly the same, but I actually prefer original paint.
I can definitely see the challenge you have with making this decision. And I thought, when we're doing the podcast and chatting with you, I might lean one way or the other. And I'm still kind of stuck on which one. I mean, I definitely, if I had to pick a brand that I gravitate more towards, it's definitely the Cummins engine. It's not necessarily the Ram or the Dodge truck, but it's the engine. And so that's really the only thing I can say. Yeah, I'd probably pick that one, but I don't know if it's necessarily the best or the most valid reason. Because I don't have anything against a 7.3 at all. I know that they're great engines. And so, I'm kind of stuck as well. But I think what we definitely want to see is I think, you're looking for opinions. And I'd love to see people on our YouTube or Instagram when we post this episode offer you their opinions and be able to say, hey, maybe I was in the same position. This is why I chose this truck. It's been great. Or I chose this one and I'm not really happy with it. I wish I would have done the other one, and just offered some varied things. And so I wanted to ask you for people who are listening and they want to chat with you or just say, hey, James, I listened to your podcast. I would definitely go with this one and why. How can they find you on Instagram or be able to chat with you or just, learn more about each truck or just offer their opinions for what you should do?
Right. I'm on Instagram as Turbo Diesel Papa. Did that because of the grandkids. And they can reach out. And actually on my Instagram right now is pictures of the Cummins. I haven't put the OBS on there yet. Again, I was committed to the Cummins. I got to decide whether my commitment's going to change. So yeah, that's how they can reach out. And that's actually what I really wanted was I'm going to get a lot of biased opinions. I know because I've already done that. But then there will possibly be some people that can bring up a point that I haven't thought of. And so I'm eager to look at that because the decision-making process on this has been a lot harder than I thought it would be.
I know there's a lot of diesel enthusiasts that I've chatted with through either YouTube or Instagram where they're exactly what you mentioned. They're not loyal to a particular brand. It's more so a use and a reliability and a longevity that they're looking for. And they don't care whether it comes from Ford, Ram, or GM. They're just looking for the best for their application. So I hope to see those comments on YouTube and on Instagram. And I appreciate you reaching out to us and, just saying, hey guys, what do you think? And I thought it'd be a great episode to do with you, learn more about the trucks, what you're facing, and hopefully will not just help you, but also help some people out there that may be in the same position. So I appreciate your time today chatting with us and definitely look forward to seeing which truck you keep and which one serves your needs best.
Well, I appreciate you doing it. That's one of the big reasons why I did this is it will definitely probably help me and it could help a lot of other people too.
Don't forget, diesel fans, make sure and head on over to wcfab.com and check out what products that they have for your diesel truck. If you have any questions, reach out to them. Make sure and give them a follow on Instagram and Facebook to be able to see really cool pictures and cool projects that they have. They're really involved in diesel, involved in events, and they're working on some really cool stuff. If you're a shop owner out there and your customers are asking for WCFab parts, head on over to turn14.com. If you're not set up with those guys, they make it really easy to be able to do so. You can see what's in stock, see your price, how quickly you can get it, what warehouse it'll ship out of. So they do all they can to make sure that you get the parts to your shop as quickly as possible. Also, check out amsoil.com if you're looking to do some preventative maintenance on your truck, whether it's engine oil, gear oil, transmission fluid change. We've got a ton of different options for you, and they have free shipping over $100. And I wanted to give a shout out to two of our Patreon supporters, Texas Diesel Supply and Wrights Diesel Services. If you're looking for more diesel content, things that you're not going to see anywhere else, we're going to have a link down below to our Patreon. There's exclusive episodes that we do and don't release on podcast apps or YouTube. You can be an executive producer for an episode. You can have your truck potentially be the podcast cover that we release on podcast apps and YouTubes. It's all over our social media. So there's a lot of cool perks that we offer for our supporters. We appreciate the support that you guys give us, helping us head into year 6 of the Diesel Podcast, which it's really cool. That anniversary is coming up here not too long, just after the first year, and it's because of the dedication and the support and the enthusiasm that all of you have, and we appreciate it. Until next time, keep the shiny side up.